The route guidance will start now. Proceed about 3 miles to Mountain Town Eastwoods Road. Six miles ahead on the route. Stop and go traffic. Slow traffic.
Switching out sweet potatoes for other types of vegetables, switching out, eliminating as many rice products as you can. Say for like teething babies, don't give them a biscuit, give them, say, a cold cucumber, which probably isn't as great for the baby, but is much better for their health. Is gonna help you eliminate a lot of the real dangers.
Gary, so appreciate it. Really informative and smart. Gary Harkai, he's investigative journalist at Bloomberg Law, joining us via Zoom from Washington, D.C. I know you've got a little one, and it's going to be freaking you out.
It does freak me out, and he's a very picky eater, too. Check out our Business Week weekend show and the cover story. Ron DeSantis' secret weapon is attacking big business. That's Bloomberg Business Week, tomorrow at 8 a.m. on Bloomberg Radio and on our podcast feed at Bloomberg.com.
All right, Tim, we talk about being so connected, maybe too connected, though so much of the world, the developing world, is not. We're going to get into that with the general manager of the Airband Initiative over at Microsoft, what they are doing to get the world together.
Now your 3-day weather forecast on Bloomberg 1130.
There may be a light shower passing through the rest of today. Otherwise, for tonight will become partly cloudy and low temperatures by Saturday morning. Midtown will be 35, a bit colder in the suburbs. Partly sunny skies return on Saturday. Afternoon temperature mid-40s. Tonight it's going to be clear and cold, low 30s. And sunshine followed by some clouds on Sunday in the 40s. And partly sunny, 45 on Monday. This is Gary Best with your 3-day forecast on Bloomberg 1130.
Breaking news first. December payrolls rise more than expected.
223,000 jobs created. Wages surprised to the downside.
Equity lift in the market.
How does the Fed view this?
Reaction first from former Fed Governor Randy Krasner.
This is the immaculate disinflation report.
And U.S. Labor Secretary Marty Walsh.
I hope we continue seeing the unemployment number come down. I think we have room to grow.
The news you need, the names you trust. Bloomberg 1130, the Bloomberg Business app, and BloombergRadio.com.
Bloomberg's The Year Ahead event returns to Davos for conversations with leading CEOs to map out a strategic blueprint for global business in 2023. Set against the backdrop of the World Economic Forum, join leaders from across the globe on January 17th in dissecting critical issues from taming inflation and deepening geopolitical tensions to environmental priorities and the future of work. Help shape the conversation for the year ahead. Learn more at BloombergLive.com/TYA 2023.
Interactive Brokers charges margin loan rates from 4.83% to 5.83%. Their clients can also earn extra income by lending their fully paid shares of stock. Join Interactive Brokers clients from 200 plus countries and territories to invest in stocks, options, futures, funds, and bonds globally. Minimize your costs to maximize your returns. Rates subject to change. Learn more at ibkr.com/compare.
Let's have a lot of people pedal those bikes. Intervals. Burn. Burn. Come on, burn. Woo!
Performance is more exhilarating on a real road. Introducing the Audi Q5. With a 261 horsepower engine that'll take you 0 to 60 in 5.7 seconds. Always obey local speed and traffic laws.
Don't let someone else drive off in the Audi model you've always wanted. Visit your tri-state area Audi dealer to get behind the wheel of yours today. Or visit AudiOffers.com for more information.
Now's the time to plan for your coming year's tax and financial needs. Do you feel your accounting and tax firm is still the right fit for you and your business? If your firm has outgrown your relationship, Anshin can be the right fit for you. Anshin has focused on privately held businesses, investment funds, and high net worth individuals and families for 100 years. Anshin is partner owned, so we can invest in our team of professionals and our relationship with you. Visit Anshin.com/VIP to learn more and to contact us.
Markets, headlines, and breaking news 24 hours a day at Bloomberg.com, the Bloomberg Business app, and at Bloomberg Quick Take. This is the Bloomberg Business Flash. A early week for the Bloomberg. For the stock market, the Dow, the S&P, NASDAQ, all moving higher today. Stocks had their best day in more than a month as traders speculate that a slowdown in wage growth will keep the Federal Reserve from having to intensify its battle against inflation. Now, for the week, the S&P was up by 1.5%. The Dow on the week also up by 1.5%. NASDAQ this week higher by 1%. But lots of green on the screen today. Stocks finished close to session highs. The S&P was up 87, up 2.3%, now at 38.95. The Dow today up 700 points, up 2.1%. NASDAQ up 264, up by 2.6%. 10-year yield 3.56%, with the 2-year 4.25%. Spot gold up 1.8%, 18.66 the ounce, and West Texas Intermediate crude up 0.1%. 73.74 a barrel. So stocks up the most since November. I'm Charlie Pelleton. That is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
Thank you so much for that update, Charlie Pellet. Bloomberg Business Week is brought to you by Innovation Refunds. This is your daily reminder from Innovation Refunds to apply for a payroll tax refund if your small or medium-sized business was impacted by COVID-19. Innovation Refunds clients already claimed over $2 billion in payroll tax refunds. Get started at getrefunds.com.
Right, you're listening and watching Bloomberg Business Week on this Friday. We're just wrapping up We just did wrap up that first trading week of the new year. 4 days of trading with stocks, as you heard from Charlie, having their best day in more than a month as traders speculated that a slowdown in wage growth will keep the Fed from having to intensify its battle against inflation. I mean, we're going to have many of the conversations we had last year we'll have this year, but it's a certainly much more bullish tone and maybe a thinking that the Fed maybe has it, this Goldilocks economy, or, the ability to engineer a soft landing, meaning slow down growth, slow down inflation, get it off those highs that we've seen. We've already seen a lot of some of the inflationary indicators, turning the corner and coming down, and then maybe not putting us into a recession. Time will tell.
Well, speaking of growth, Carol, it's hard to believe, but about half the world's population remain unconnected. And without the internet, you're not going to see the economic growth that countries that have widespread connectivity have. Many in the developing world, lots of groups and companies and governments are out there looking to change that, including Microsoft. We've got a great voice.
Yeah, we do indeed. Vicki Robinson is General Manager of the Airband Initiative at Microsoft. They bring broadband connectivity to people living in unserved rural areas globally. It launched back in 2017. She is with us via Zoom in Washington, D.C. Vicki, Happy New Year. Great to have you here with us. Again, talk to us a little bit about the initiative and what you guys have achieved so far, because you've been around, what now? You're in your 5th or 6th year?
That's correct, and Happy New Year. Thanks so much for having me. As you've mentioned, the Airband Initiative has been around for 5 years now, since 2017, and our whole objective is to expand access to internet access throughout the globe, and we do this largely because we view it as our responsibility and as a business imperative to enable widespread use of our technology. And so since we embarked upon this work to date, we've extended high-speed internet access to 51 million people across 16 countries as well as the United States. And that includes 9 million on the continent of Africa and then 4 million here in the United States.
So how are you doing it? What's the technology that you're using?
We're using a variety of technologies, but what's really core and important for us is the partnership model. So I think it's important to clarify this point that this is not work that Microsoft is doing directly. We know that there are some in the tech sector who are in fact providing connectivity directly, but that's not our approach. Our approach instead is focused on partnering with others in the private, public, and nonprofit sectors in order to increase access to the internet throughout the world.
Okay.
And so in doing that, we use a variety of technology solutions.
I have to ask, but I'm not a cynic. I'm an optimist. But perhaps somebody listening may say, okay, well, of course Microsoft wants everyone connected to the internet, because the more people who are connected, the more of those people could sign up for Office 365 or use Microsoft Teams or use the products that we all use from Microsoft.
And we don't dispute that. That's part of the opportunity side. Listen, from our perspective, we believe that we have an opportunity and an obligation to have our technology rightly deployed. And so, yes, the internet is an enabler of that, and we certainly benefit from more people being online. We don't run from that. But we also view this as part of our corporate social responsibility as well. And I will point out, Tim, it's not a given that if you're going to be connected to the internet, that you will, by default, use Microsoft technology. But that is part of the calculation in us doing this work. We don't shy away from that reality.
How do you pick up the momentum and the speed, right? You talk about the inroads and success you've made so far, but there are millions, tens of millions of people, hundreds of millions of people, right, that are still not connected. So, yes, yay, progress, but so much more to be done. How do you pick it up?
So much more to be done. I mean, I think you all were talking about this as we were jumping into the conversation. A third of the world, 2.7 billion people, are not connected to the internet. So that's a huge challenge. But I will say the pandemic and people being forced to shelter in, whether it's for learning or for doing their job or getting medical services, that really helped to shine a light on this issue in a way that I can tell you from doing this work for the past 2 decades has not been easy to kind of translate. And so when you think about the 2.7 billion people across the world, which is a third of the world, and then here domestically, according to our data, you have 120 million people, or a third of the United States, who are not using the internet. It is a big, hairy problem, but the good news is that there is a lot of awareness and commitment globally by governments as well as the private sector to address this problem in a meaningful way. And so one example of that here in the United States is the infrastructure bill that was passed last year, and it's infusing $65 billion to address this very problem here domestically.
Vicki, what's the biggest sticking point? I mean, and to be fair, in the emerging economies, I mean, kudos, I think, in terms of what you guys are doing, but some of these people are just, they're trying to put food on their table. Like, it's a very tough environment. There's so much to be done. So where do you get caught up in problems? Is it governments? Is it just working within systems that don't have a lot of great infrastructure on so many different levels? What is it?
It's multifaceted, actually. So one thing to point out is that when you're talking about global south and developing countries, there is also the barrier of energy access. So if you look at Africa, for example, where we are committed to expand access to 100 million people on the continent, many of those people don't have energy access, so that's a barrier, and that's something that you need to address, because of course you can't talk about internet access if you don't have at base energy access. So it's really thinking about programs that address both the energy challenges but as well as the lack of access. To your point, it also needs to be affordable. And so while if you have internet access that's available, and it is available to certain parts of the world, if you can't afford it, may not be a barrier. It's available because it's a barrier to you. And so it is important for government. This has to be a whole of society, whole world approach for government to lean in, whether it's through funding, a program for deployment of high-speed internet access, skills, devices. It's multifaceted.
Well, Vicki, a lot of it does have to do with technology and the actual way that you get the signal to rural areas and areas of the world that are unconnected. We know Elon Musk is working very hard with Starlink to bring internet to previously unconnected places. Any plans to work with Starlink, the SpaceX connectivity, internet connectivity business?
Well, we're open to working with everyone.
But you don't currently work with Starlink, right?
Pardon?
You don't currently work with Starlink, right?
Microsoft does work with Starlink, but Airband specifically not currently. But we are partnering with Viasat, who, like Starlink, provides satellite-based internet connectivity. In fact, as part of our recent partnership with Viasat, this is the first of its kind, that at least from an airband perspective, we are committed to extending broadband access to 10 million people across the world, 5 million of which are on the continent of Africa. And we're a big tent. We're open to working with all partners in the private, public, and non-profit sectors, and so we're certainly open to that. Believe solutions like Starlink and the low Earth orbit satellite provide a lot of promise for attacking this problem in a meaningful way.
Hey, Vicki, just have 30 seconds, so if you could be quick, please. But in terms of recession, no recession, with the global economic macro environment might be, how will that maybe slow? Are you seeing that, and could that possibly slow your initiative? And again, very quickly.
Anything's possible, of course, but again, I think the promise and of what's required to actually exist in the digital world, and the promise that technology holds to act as a deflationary force, I think combined with the government investments that we're seeing crop up around the world, that will help to hopefully blunt those the macroeconomic environment and the potential risk here.
All right, Vicki Robinson, General Manager of Airband Initiative over at Microsoft, joining us via Zoom from Washington, D.C. I have to say, I feel like we've been talking a long time, too, about connecting the whole world.
Yeah, interesting to think about the devices, too, right? Sort of, hopscotching the idea of computers and going right to phones. Let's get a check on world and national news. Nancy Lyons from the 99.1 Newsroom in D.C. Hey, Nancy.
Thanks, Jim. Kevin McCarthy is still looking for votes to become the Speaker of the House. He fell just shy of a majority in a 13th Speaker ballot today, but he has managed to win over some key Republicans, including Freedom Caucus Chair Scott Perry.
We have a framework of an agreement that we have gotten to in good faith, myself included. When you get what you ask for, then you should say yes.
Perry says, though, there's still work to do on that framework. The House is now taking a break until 10 tonight, Wall Street time, when McCarthy says he will have the votes. President Biden is marking the 2-year anniversary of the Capitol riot by awarding a special medal. It's called the Presidential Citizens Medal, and it's being given to election workers, state officials who resisted pressure to overturn the election, and officers who defended the Capitol.
We honor a remarkable group of Americans who embodied the best before, during, and after January the 6th. 2021.
Biden says the medal is one of the country's highest civilian honors given to those who have performed exemplary deeds of service for their country or fellow citizens. Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin continues to show substantial progress and has had his breathing tube removed, and he can now talk. He even made an appearance with the team on FaceTime today. Fellow Bills player Deion Dawkins says it gave everyone a lift.
Got our boy. The excitement was beautiful. It was amazing. It has given us so much energy, so much, bright, high spirits, whatever you want to call it. It has given it to us.
Deion Dawkins says hearing Hamlin's voice was all they needed. Tributes to Hamlin and his number 3 will be on display at NFL games this weekend. Global news 24 hours a day, on air and on Bloomberg Quick Take, powered by more than 2,700 journalists and analysts in more than 120 countries. I'm Nancy Lyons.
Ever wish you knew a Washington insider? Details on the president's plan on sale today. Well, now you do. There are critics on both sides of the aisle. Bloomberg Washington correspondent Joe Matthew. The big vote set for tonight in the U.S. House, along with D.C.'s most respected news team. Bloomberg Politics contributors Jeannie Shanzano and Rick Davis with us. Bloomberg Sound On with Joe Matthew. Weekday afternoons at 5 on Bloomberg 1130, the Bloomberg Business app, and BloombergRadio.com. Think of everything you do to provide for your family. A home, food on the table, healthcare, vacations, and saving for your kids' education. It's all good as long as you're alive, but it's only a drop in the bucket of what they'll need if you die without life insurance. Buying term life insurance is not something you can afford to put off. Call the Term Lifeline now for the lowest possible rates on quality term life insurance. Term life rates are at all-time lows, and we can save you up to 70%. If you already have coverage, you pay too much. One call could save you thousands of dollars. We have great rates for smokers, too, or if you have health problems. Providing for today is good, but it's not enough if you die prematurely. Call the Term Lifeline today for a free quote. Protect your family and see if you could save up to 70%. 866-549-TERM. 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 That's 866-549-8376.
Yeah, I'm so stressed about my business not being ready for the holidays. What is that? Meditation? I'm recommending the Uma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 35 features. Uma? Yep. Switching to Uma is a cinch. Starts at $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees. Uma. Now you're feeling it. Visit Uma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Uma. Smart communications for the smarter business. NJIT, New Jersey Institute of Technology, makes innovation happen. The university helped biomedical engineering professor Tara Alvarez launch a startup that may revolutionize vision therapy.
Our startup through NJIT is called Ocular Motor Technology. We create virtual reality vision therapy in a head-mounted display. So it's gaming, and basically we're sugarcoating the therapy so that children and young adolescents don't even realize they're doing therapy. To accomplish this, we need biomedical engineers, which are here on JIT campus, computer scientists, artists, people that are into story development, and then we're collaborating with a lot of the large pediatric medical centers. This idea of a startup culture is extremely important to not just NJIT and the National Science Foundation, but also to the U.S. as a societal whole.
NJIT, New Jersey Institute of Technology. Learn more at njit.edu.
Bloomberg Radio, on demand and in your podcast feed.
On the latest edition of the Tape Podcast, a conversation with Dan Ives of Wedbush Securities. Dan, I know you've been dealing with this issue for all year. Your job over the years has been kind of, in part, educate your clients on the EV market, on the opportunities, on the investment opportunities. A lot of things have turned here in the last 12 months.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a perfect storm. I mean, the first part was the Musk Twitter, circus show driven.
Yes.
But this last part's been demand warriors. And look, China's the hearts and lungs of the Tesla story. Competition clearly increasing within the country domestically. You're seeing price cuts and some cracks in the armor. And I think right now the big worry is, you saw the price cut today, what does that mean for demand, and especially what does that mean for margins? Look, my view is that they actually have now the scale to expand margins. So they have flexibility. They could cut prices even another 4 to 5%, and margins still, I believe could stay relatively range bound. But it's all about the fear of the unknown. You obviously have a key earnings, the key guidance coming around the corner January 25th. And Musk is the one that started the 5-alarm fire. He is the only one that can extinguish it.
Dan, if brands want to get away from the Elon Musk brand, because that's what it is, right? Do consumers want to get away from the Elon Musk brand?
Look, I think brand deterioration has been an issue. We've talked about it. It's a black eye for Musk. It's a black eye for Tesla. It's a fork in the road. It's a moment of truth for Musk, and it all starts Jan 25th. You got to set realistic expectations to hit, and then I believe the stock starts to correct itself.
Get more of this and other conversations on the latest edition of the Tape Podcast. Anywhere else you get your podcasts. Plus, listen anytime on the Bloomberg Business app and Bloomberg.com. Markets, headlines, and breaking news 24 hours a day at Bloomberg.com, the Bloomberg Business app, and at Bloomberg Quick Take. This is a Bloomberg Business Flash. From Bloomberg World Headquarters, I'm Charlie Pellet. We begin with a developing story tonight. Macy's, saying moments ago, it expects to report fourth-quarter sales that were weaker than previously forecast, and it sees continued pressure on the consumer in 2023. Now, at one point after hours, Macy's was down as much as 11%. It has since pared the loss now to 2.13%. We've got competitors, including Nordstrom and Kohl's, also trading lower, but again, the key takeaway, Macy's does expect fourth-quarter sales that were weaker than previously forecast. Former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers is warning that the assumption embedded in the bond market is that the era of low interest rates anchored by inflationary pressures is coming back is likely to be wrong. Summers spoke in an exclusive interview with Bloomberg's David Weston on Wall Street Week. He also told us what he sees in markets this year.
I suspect tumult, David. Look, the 30-year story, it has been declining interest rates, the idea that we're moving into an era of low interest rates. That was certainly the thesis that I was pushing with the secular stagnation idea prior to COVID. That's been the basis for a large amount of economic thinking.
Stocks today snapped a 4-week loss. It was a winning week for the S&P 500 index. This week, the S&P rallied 2.3% after the jobs report. The S&P climbing today higher by 87 points. The Dow with a 700-point gain, up 2.1%. NASDAQ up 264 points, higher by 2.6%. 10-year yield 3.56%. The 2-year 4.25%. Spot gold up $33 the ounce to $18.66, a gain there of just about 1.8%. And West Texas Intermediate crude 73.71 a barrel, up by about 0.1%. So again, recapping, big rally jobs Friday. S&P today up by 2.3%. I'm Charlie Pellet, and that with the Bloomberg Business Flash.
All right, Charlie. Thank you so much. Charlie Pellet there. Carol Master, Tim Stanovic, live in our Bloomberg Interactive Brokers studio, streaming on YouTube and on Bloomberg Quick Take. And as the new Congress takes power, well,
You have arrived at your destination. Route guidance is now finished.
Put it on hold, but they're supposed to come back tonight.
Tonight, 10 p.m.
Yeah, mark your calendars.
Yeah, they go get it, Carol?
I don't know.
They probably want to go home, right?
Yeah, they probably want to go home. Let's see. Nonetheless, we're forging ahead, thinking about the new year, and Bloomberg has identified the 10 lawmakers to watch in 2023.
We got 5 Democrats, 5